Today we're going to be looking at this value screen from piXL. It's 27 inch and it's 4K, so what else can you ask for? The box is pretty straightforward. The front and the back looks exactly the same and the information on the side is the same as what's on the front basically. It's called the piXL or piXL, depending on how you want to pronounce it. It's got a 4K Ultra HD screen, which basically means it's really high quality, high resolution, which is 3840 by 2160. It's 27 inch. It is a frameless, which basically means that you haven't got a big border around the edges, and it's an IPS monitor, which generally means it's really high quality. Now, you've got USB Type-C connection on there. You've also got DisplayPort as well as HDMI. So inside the box, we've got a screen, believe it or not, which came in a plastic bag. Not sure why, considering it's already got a screen protector on it. You've got the base, which came, funny enough, in a plastic bag. You've got the manual, which came in a plastic bag, as well as two screws, which came in a plastic bag inside that plastic bag. You've also got the power brick, which came in, believe it or not, plastic bag. A power cable, which didn't come in a plastic bag. HDMI cable, which came in a plastic bag, which has also got two condoms on the end. You've got a USB Type-C, which has got a plastic wrap around it. And then you've got the actual base, well, the stand, should we say, which allows you to adjust it and so forth. Okay, assembly is very straightforward. All you need is the two screws, what came in one of the plastic bags, the stand part and the base, and obviously the screen itself. What I would suggest is when you're doing this, you get your screen, put it on a table, make sure it's obviously clean, ideally with some sort of cloth or mat or something to protect the screen, because the last thing you want is something going straight through your screen and damaging it. So you hang it over the edge just slightly, so when you put the base on, you can easily do it. Now on the back, there's basically, you can see like sort of four holes here in each corner. That's actually a VESA wall mountable, or you can get a stand or something else if you wanted an alternative stand, or you can just use the one what it comes with, which is here. You just basically hook it using these two bits here into those two holes, drop it down, get two screws, give it a good screw in, make sure you get both of them in. There we go. And then you just get the base, and that slides on the bottom, and you'll have to give it usually a little bump like that for it to click in, and that's it. So let's have a look at the monitor itself. First of all, let's peel off this piece of plastic on the front, what's protecting it. There we go, and it is stuck a little bit under the bezel at the bottom, so you're going to have to give it a bit of a pull. Let's have a look at the front of it. The first thing I notice is the front is in the reflection. There is a bit of reflection there because it is a slightly glossy screen, but it does seem to have a bit of a diffusion on there, so it does make it look a little bit blurred and not so obvious that there's someone staring at the screen, so that's good to a degree. The bezel around the edge is very thin. It is around about 1 millimeter, I would say, maybe 1.5 millimeters around the edge, which is also good. Obviously you've got a thicker one at the bottom, which is usually standard on screens, and then you've got the logo at the bottom, and then you've got stuff like menu, back, forward, enter and power there. The actual buttons aren't at the bottom, or are they? Yeah, they are. They're right at the bottom. We'll show a picture of that in a few seconds. So on the bottom edge where the buttons are, they are here, as you can see, but they do take a bit of pressure to actually press them. They're very tactile. There are some holes along here, looks like speakers, but they aren't. They are vents. There's no information about there being speakers in this model, so I'm pretty sure they'll be vents. So the included stand only gives you one option, and that is tilt. You can't higher, lower, adjust it, put it in portrait mode or anything like that. It's just basically tilt. But one thing I do find is with the tilt, it is quite tricky. You have to really hold the base down and push down at the top, especially more so when you're wanting to tilt it back up again. If you look, when I hold the base and try and tilt it, the stand is completely flexing. You really have to watch how you're doing it and put a bit of pressure on it. But to be honest with you, once you've got it in the tilt position you want, you'll probably not change it ever again anyway, but just bear that in mind. The back of the monitor, well, there's not really much to look at in all honesty. You've got a vent at the top there, and a couple of little vent holes down here. Otherwise, you've got the stand. It's got a bit of a cutout in. Does it look stylish or not? Probably not too much, to be honest with you. But otherwise, it's pretty standard for a back or a screen, other than you've got a Kensington lock hole there. So if you wanted to lock it to a desk or something, you can do. So on the I/O panel, you've got your power connection. That's where the power cable plugs into. It's just over 2 meters long when you add both cables together, roughly about 2¼ meters long. You've got an audio pass-through. You've got a DisplayPort connection, or DP. It does come with a cable for that as well, which is 1½ meters long, so it should be about long enough for what you need. You've also got HDMI connection there as well, which is good, but it does not come with a cable for the HDMI, which is one of my pet peeves, because you'll go and buy a monitor. For example, I do computer repairs, go to people's houses, sell them a new monitor because their old one's broken or whatever, or they've had a new PC, and the new PC or the current PC only has a HDMI connection on it, and it hasn't got a cable, so then you have to go and buy a separate cable or look in the back of the truck for another cable. So it's a bit of a pain, especially if you've suddenly just run out. You've also got USB Type-C connection. The cable, what it comes with is USB Type-C both ends, so you can either charge your device through it, so it does support charging, or you can plug in your laptop or smart device what's got a USB Type-C connection to the screen, and it will display, obviously, just like plugging in a HDMI or the DisplayPort, which is good. And then you've got 2 USB ports, which I'm guessing are going to be used for a mini hub, so you can plug in things like keyboards and mice. Okay, we'll go through the clarity and the colours and everything in a few seconds, but let's go through the menu system first. You press the M at the bottom down here. Once you're on that screen, you use the arrows at the bottom of the screen. Oh, it's disappeared. You use the arrows at the bottom. You can change the input source between DisplayPort, HDMI, and then the USB Type-C. You can use the arrows, if I get it the right way. You've got brightness controls. It's currently on 80% brightness and 50% contrast. You've got DCR as well. That's currently turned off as default. You've got color settings, so you can change the picture mode between different pictures. You've got color temperature, hue, saturation, gamma. You've also got other options like sharpness on there. You've got aspect ratios you can change. Audio is muted, but I've not actually heard any audio on here, so I'm just going to test that at the moment just to make sure. Turn audio on, and let's just play this video, see if there is any audio. No, there is no audio, so it must be a default setting they use on other ones, but there's definitely no audio on this screen. So if I go back to the main menu, use the E button, there we go. You've got the OSD, that's basically just to move this bit around on the screen into different places. And then the last option is Other. You've got option for turning on HDR, as well as turn on Type-C function and reset. The HDR, we have tried that. We've either noticed no difference, or in some cases that the quality doesn't look as good when the HDR is on. I'm actually thinking the HDR isn't actually implemented in this. Like the sound of giving you the option to do it. If you turn HDR in Windows, you turn HDR on the screen, in all honesty, you don't see it any brighter or any zones brighter. It looks pretty much the same to me. If anything, it probably looks a little bit worse. But again, we've taken pictures of both and we don't see much of a difference in all reality. As you can see here, the picture quality is absolutely brilliant. It's 4K, so you wouldn't expect anything better, to be honest with you. It's an IPS screen as well, so you're getting those vivid colours. Don't get me wrong, it's not an OLED or QLED or anything like that, which again, at this price, you're not going to get that. But the quality is actually very good. Now, don't get me wrong, I wouldn't class this as a gaming monitor. This would be good for a home PC, office PC, or someone wanting to do some productivity work or something along that lines. If you did want a game on it, you can do, don't get me wrong, but the actual refresh rate is limited to 60 Hertz, which basically means if you're playing a game, if you're going more than 60 frames a second, you're not going to see the extra frames per second on the actual screen because it'll only show the 60. Also, the viewing angle is pretty good. You can see it pretty much at all angles. It's classed as 89-degree viewing angles from each angle, which means you can see it from anywhere. I have found, though, if you go probably to around about 45, 60 degrees from the screen at an angle. It does have a bit of a sheen to it on certain colours, especially on darks, so it could make it a little bit difficult to see if you're looking at an angle. But then again, if you're using a monitor, you should be looking directly at it anyway, so it's not too bad. Again, we have got a 27-inch screen, so it's nice and big, bigger than the average, most averages these days. Most people have a PC screen around about 24 inches, so that's pretty good. You've got your standard colour support, 16.7 million colours. Contrast ratio is 1000:1. Brightness is 320 CDM2s. It is backlit because it's a LED screen. And as we've said, it's tiltable as well, but it's not height adjustable, it's not swivelable, you can't turn it into a portrait mode or anything along that lines. And it does support your standard VESA 100mm connections if you did want to wall mount it or put it on an arm or something like that. So yeah, you've got a good picture quality. You can see the picture on there. Bear in mind, you are watching this where we're recording the picture onto a camera, then it's been uploaded onto YouTube, and then you're watching it on another device, which is going to obviously change the colours and the resolution you're probably viewing it in as well. So it will alter how it is. But if you're looking for a good quality, good value 4K screen, then you can't really complain at this. So I would highly recommend it. I hope you enjoyed that Pixel review. I know I did. If you would like to see more Pixel products, then click this box right here. Or you can click this box down here to see other monitor reviews we've done in the past. Otherwise, if you would like to like, subscribe, comment below, please do. And we'll see you next time.